Davis steps under center. Gibson and McClendon behind him. Davis with motion by Richard. Will give the ball to McClendon. He leaps. Oh, he doesn't get in. He fumbled the football. Carolina holds. The game is over. And Carolina has won the game.
Finley to throw. Over the middle, intercepted. Wolford again. Wolford the other way. At the 30, the 40. Wolford to midfield. Miles Wolford with the pick. The Heels on the doorstep of an enormous victory.
Left side of the line. Hood standing to Williams' right. Williams going to throw. One-on-one. Davis has it. Touchdown. Carolina wins. Carolina is the Coastal Division champion. Bernard fields it at the 26. Heading to the far side. Gio at the 35. Gio, he's at the 50. No, he's not. Yes, he is. Gio is going to take it for a touchdown. Are you kidding me?
Connor Barth for the possible win. Snap, spot, kick away, high enough, long enough. It's good! It's good! Carolina has won the game on a 42-yard field goal by freshman Connor Barth. Good gosh, dirty.
This is the Heel Tough Blog Podcast. Hey guys, and welcome in to another edition of the Heel Tough Blog Podcast. And that's right, we continue our quarantine interviews here with former players, and we're welcoming in former defensive lineman Tyler Powell. And buddy, I've been asking everybody this when we start off. Just want to make sure that you and your family is safe. You and actually your beautiful new bride, Kelsey, who you just got married to back in February. So how are you guys holding up during this just very unprecedented time, especially for our generation?
Oh, we're doing good, man. You know, staying in the house mostly, getting some work here and there, but, you know, mostly just hanging around the house. So.
Yeah, no, I feel you. That's pretty much been what I've been doing as well, just trying to kind of find some things to keep me distracted during these times. But, you know, it feels like eventually college football will be coming back. Hopefully it's coming back this year. You know, of course, you were a part of the Tar Heels, a nice 3-year contributor for the Tar Heels along the defensive lines. And, you know, your first 2 seasons on campus came during an extremely successful stretch, 2015 and 2016. You know, just from your perspective, what was it like to be in that locker room during a stretch where the Tar Heels went 19-8 and at a time we're actually seeing during that 2015 season heading into the ACC championship game as a team that could potentially maybe crack the college football playoff?
Man, I got to tell you, that was one of the most fun times to be a player down there. And, you know, it's not only because, you know, I'm one of those people, I like to win. I don't, you know, people say play for fun. I say winning is fun. But, you know, it was just a lot of fun being down there, especially after, you know, my freshman year when we went 6-6. Going to something like that where we went 11-1 the next year was a cool experience. And it's a lot of fun being around that kind of environment, that kind of excitement. You know, every week when you're preparing, you know that you're looking towards accomplishing something that's really big that's never happened before. So, you know, that was a cool time to be down there and be a part of it.
Well, the next 2 seasons, something definitely changed. The team really struggled. Of course, in 2017, you started the season but got injured and were placed out for the season to come back in 2018. But, you know, just from your perspective, what do you think changed in the locker room from that 2016 season in between to that 2017 season that just kind of put the team in a different direction?
And see, that's kind of the craziest thing is if you looked at our locker room, our environment, the way we prepared, the way we practiced, I mean, you would think that it was still the same team that went 11-1. I mean, it was just nothing changed mindset-wise, locker room-wise, environment or culture-wise, which was kind of the crazy part to us because we're sitting here, you know, looking at everything we're doing, the work we're putting in. We're like, man, we are grinding. What's going on? And I mean, it just, you know, I think it was just a bad run for a little bit with injuries, and then, it was just not, being consistent, doing the things we need to do to really lock those games down. I mean, if you look at, especially my second senior year, 2018, I mean, I don't think we got blown out of hardly any games. It was, 3 points, 5 points, 7 points. We just were not finishing the way we needed to. And that was really what it came down to. And so, I tell people when they ask me about it that I actually take a lot of pride in the fact that our locker room never changed. Our culture never changed. Mm-hmm. We put our heads down and just kept working. That's something that I took a lot of pride in, but it was just one of those things where, we just couldn't get the dice to fall the way we needed them to. So,
yeah, unfortunately, one of those games was the final game of your career against NC State at home. Of course, we all remember how that game ended up, and but that actually for you was probably the best game of your entire career. You had a fantastic day, and it was your senior day. So, what are your memories of that final game in a Tar Heel uniform? Is that one that sticks out to you still to this day?
I mean, it does. And, because it was, knowing that was my last game in Keenan and who we were playing, that was a big one for me. As far as, that was probably the most productive game that I've had, but, at the end of the day, when you look up at the scoreboard, it really doesn't matter. Right. And that was probably the worst feeling, walking in that game, knowing that, that's how it ended. That was really frustrating. But, it's one of those things that happens, and I couldn't have, asked for a better place to have played or, better guys to be teammates with. And so, for me, it's a memorable day on both sides of it.
Yeah, and of course, you were coached by Larry Fedora your entire time on campus. Of course, the Tar Heels ended up moving on from him after that game against NC State. But really, I think he leaves behind one of those legacies that maybe right now, because it's still a little fresh, people are not going to realize how strong of a tenure he actually put together there. But, being a guy that played under him, what was the thing that you liked the most about Coach Fedora? Why did you want to play for him when you originally committed to him?
Man, I got to tell you, and people have asked me this question before, and I kind of laugh every time I answer it because the whole time you're playing for him, you're like, this dude has us in the building all the time. He's on us all the time. But I look at it now, and I'm like, I would not have wanted to play for anyone else. And, I mean, it's as simple as the fact that how many Power 5 coaches do you know that are going to go sit and eat lunch with their players every single day, who are going to know your entire family by name, ask how they're doing every time they see them, and it's stuff like that which I always found to be a big deal when you have someone who's in that position and they choose to take an interest in their players, they choose to know what's going on in their lives outside of football. To me, that's huge. And then on the field, I mean, to me, he's the way I grew up playing football, where it's, you don't want to do all the talking, the videos, he's like, I want to go coach, and y'all are going to go play, and this is how we're going to play. And that's the way I grew up playing, was, very tough, hard-nosed. We're just going to go out. If you're hurt, shake it off, get back out there. It's just that kind of thing. That's what I love. That's how I grew up playing. And so playing for somebody like that who has a genuine interest in his players, I mean, it's awesome. And, I tell people that I really feel bad for the way that he had to leave, because I know it's not how he wanted to leave, and it's not how we wanted him to leave. But,
right.
People also need to understand, when they look at it, don't look at those last 2 years. He walked into an incredibly difficult situation and, made a lot out of it. Brought one of the best teams in UNC history out of it. So, I understand, why ways had to be parted, but, I think he was a huge difference maker for the program, and I love playing underneath that guy.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I think everything that you said right there is spot on. Coach Fedora is a guy that, like you said, came in at a difficult time. His first year on campus actually won the division but didn't get to go to the ACC championship because of the ruling by the NCAA where the Tar Heels were ineligible for that postseason. And like you said, put together just a phenomenal year in 2015 that luckily you were able to be a part of. And now, Mac Brown's in place, and this defensive line looks to be a unit that's starting to develop some really good talent. Of course, Jason Strowbridge going to the NFL. I think that Aaron Crawford should be in the NFL. I think these people are nuts that don't have him on draft boards. I love Aaron Crawford, but there are also some guys that are going to be coming back next year that you played with. Do you think there's anybody in the group that you played with that you're looking forward to seeing this year, maybe stepping up and becoming a leader on that defensive line?
Taman, definitely. That dude, I mean, he plays hard, and he is a baller, so I can't wait to watch him play. And then, I'm excited to see some of the young guys that I played with, especially my last year down there, who, have gotten in some games here and there, but like Zach Gill, I really want to see something,
right?
Big from him this year, because he's shown flashes. When he came in, a lot of people from the outside were talking about, well, he was, this star prospect, and he's this big. And I explained to some people who, because my little brother actually played at Wake Forest High School for a couple of years when my parents moved down there. So, he was actually like best friends with Zach's little brother. And so, I was talking to a lot of people over there, and I was like, y'all got to understand, Zach is still raw from a football standpoint. He's still learning how to play the game, but you want to talk about somebody that has a lot of tools and a lot of just natural ability. He's one who could, make a really big difference in the next year or two with, the skill set that he has. So I'm excited to see those guys play. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, being a guy that's kind of moved back and forth between defensive end and defensive tackle, where do you think would be the best fit for him? Because that's kind of my biggest thing when I look at him is I think that he could fit at defensive tackle, but I just don't know if he has the size to play in the middle like Aaron Crawford had to last year. Do you think that he could do that, or is he more fit for that 4-eye technique defensive end spot?
I mean, I think he's more of a rush tackle than anything else. And in college, it's hard to, for a lot of people, it's hard to find a position, especially when you're kind of in that tweener size, which is kind of where I sat. A lot of my career was in that tweener size, because my weight had to be low enough to where if I needed to play end, I could drop in coverage, I could still move, but I had to be heavy enough to be able to sit inside for more than 3 or 4 reps before I got tired. So it's it's that fine balance, but I think where he would shine the most is in that rush tackle spot.
Gotcha. Okay. So with your football career over, where has life taken you, man? I talked to a lot of former players, and there's some amazing stories of where guys have gone. Where has life taken you so far, even though it's still a little bit early for you?
Yeah. So, after, the draft and everything last year, and, trying to figure out what I was going to do, once I kind of figured out that I wasn't going to be getting any calls, I actually moved up here to Leesburg to be with my fiance, now my wife, and I actually started working as a personal trainer at Gold's Gym up here, and so now I run the personal training department for Gold's and at the gym that I'm at in Sterling, and so that's what I've been doing right now. The strength and conditioning side of it was something I fell in love with from the time I was in 9th grade. So I knew that was something I was going to want to continue pursuing.
Well, that's great, man. Hey, I know that life is going to hold big things for you because you're a great dude, man. I remember meeting you at Meet the Heels, and you were one of my favorite players every year to go by and talk to because it was just, different for you. A lot of the guys were just there because they had to be. You really enjoyed being there, talking to the fans and everything. So I really appreciate you coming on with us, man. I know, right now there's some crazy things going on in the world, but thanks for taking some time out to talk to us, and we wish you the best.
Yeah, man, anytime.
All right, man. Hey, really appreciate it. You guys take care and stay safe up there, and we'll talk to you down the line, okay, buddy?
Yes, sir. You too.
All right. That is former Tar Heel defensive lineman Tyler Powell stopping by with us. So, really appreciate Tyler taking some time out to talk to us. A really great guy, always one of my favorite guys, and actually one of my original followers on Twitter from a guy that was playing on the team. I remember getting one of the first follow backs from him. So, a guy that's been following along for a while now. Really appreciate him taking some time out with us. So, of course, you guys can go back and listen to all of these great editions of the podcast. We are encouraging you to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, because not only do we have the interview that we just had here with Tyler, we've got some other great interviews that are going to be up there, some that are already up there. Make sure you go back and check out Deontay Williams' interview. That was a fantastic one with the former Tar Heel safety, a guy that was an absolute star in his time at Carolina. His career came to an end a way that I don't think most of us expected, and he has a great story to tell. He's going to go through and talk to you guys a little bit about what he's doing now as an author and entrepreneur, so that was a great one. Another guy whose career ended early due to injury, C.J. Cotman, the former cornerback, stopped by to talk with us, hear what he had to say, as well as former running back Antonio James, who was a walk-on and actually went to high school with me, so that was a really cool interview as well. Go back, check out all of those interviews. All of those guys were fantastic, and we're going to have so many more coming up for you guys over these next couple of weeks as we try to help you keep your mind off of everything that's going on in just this stressful and strange time here in 2020. But we've got you covered. We got you covered on the football front as well. You can go back. There's a few interviews a couple of weeks back now with Pat James from GoHeels.com. He's on there talking about the impact of the coronavirus and what Mac Brown had to say about it, how they're going through everything, doing the online workouts, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you go back, check that out, as well as me and Zach Hubbard. If you didn't check that out, you want to hear a breakdown of some of the latest commitments. We had an edition of the podcast where we broke down Kobe Paysauer, Eli Sutton, DeAndre Boykins, as well as Tymir Brown. So make sure you go back and listen to that, and then you can head over to the website as well, HeelToughBlog.com. That's another area that you can listen to the podcast, but while you're on there, make sure you check out the articles as well. There's some great stuff up there, including the most important remaining targets in the 2021 class, as well as a lot of other great stuff that we have on there. Basketball, we're doing a lot of recap stuff from this past year, player reviews, as well as player awards, and that's the same stuff that's going on with the Roy's Boys podcast as well, which you can find on the website, and we'll have you covered all throughout with football and basketball coverage. Still looking for a full-time baseball writer as well, so if you guys are interested in that, make sure that you hit me up either on Twitter at at HTB Anthony. I forgot that I changed it. HTB Anthony on Twitter, or you can email me, anthony.pagnotta@yahoo.com. If you want, you can also hit up Josh at Joshua Marlowe 5 on Twitter as well. So once again, want to thank Tyler Powell for stopping by with us. Want to thank you guys for listening, and as always, go Tar Heels!